See here, over the Bosphorus, people fish for what I can only assume is sardines. See, you got one. That was a big one though. But they cast lines, and they have like 7 or 8 hooks on a line at once. There's nowhere to go, dude. And then they just catch whatever they can. And they just put them in buckets of water. Like that one. You only got one so far. And they do it on this side and that side. And then like all around the water. That's not a bridge. So like, there'd be some people all the way down there doing it as well. And also in Asia, on the Asian side. See, he got 2 just then. Yeah, it's not right. No, he only got 1. And then those are sardines. Oh, this guy has the method down. 3 rods, 4 buckets. And sometimes, I find it funny, but sometimes a cat comes up and without them looking, they'll just steal a fish. Or if a cat comes and they notice the cat, they'll just feed the fish. So, symbiosis. It doesn't quite smell as bad as you'd think, but you can definitely tell there's fish. I actually don't know if they just take them home and cook for their family. I'd assume most of them probably would. Or they might own like a fish shop and I guess fish for fish. But I believe it's really just for the family. I don't see much profit in fishing for a whole day. For a restaurant, they probably sell like a lot more fish than you caught. So it doesn't sound too efficient with their time, but it's just a simple way to catch dinner, really. Alright, I'm walking, well duh, but I came to my favorite bakery that I found online. So I'm gonna try some stuff. Merhaba. I kinda want an apple thing. One of those. Merhaba. Bunun ismi ne? İçinde elmalı mı?
Elmalı, evet.
O zaman ben 2 tane alırım ondan.
Paket mi burada mı?
Burada yiyeceğim.
Ne yapıyorsun?
Ve bir çay.
Büyük çay, hani elmalı. Bir büyük çayınız var değil mi?
Hı hı.
Annem
Anne söylemiştir.
evet bunu niye açık olmuşum? Değil annem de kızıyor dedim gebertirim dedim.
Teşekkür ediyorum.
Fakirse dedim ne? Onu postala gider.
Ooh, perfect. Ooh, I just burned the fuck out of my knee. I dropped some on myself. Let's not do that next time. Alright. I don't exactly know what the name of these are, but it's like, oh, what's the Argentinian cookie with caramel on the inside? But it's instead with like an apple jam thing. It's like a mini pie, if anything. And I got tea. So, if memory serves, this all tastes great. Oh yeah. This is the stuff. The desserts here are not too sweet, unless it's like a chocolatey cream based dessert. Because at that point, or not at that point, but like those types of desserts get too rich in cream and too rich in chocolate, and then you kind of just stop enjoying it after a while. But little things like these are what you really want. Do I want anything else? I don't know. I guess a cookie for the road. Let me do that. Pardon. Buradan para alayım. Kredi kart alıyor mu? O zaman ben bir çikolata kurabiye alırım. Bir tane. Paket olsun. Evet. Teşekkür ederim. I got me a cookie for tonight with tea if I have any more. Well, not what the fuck do I mean if I will. But now I got, I don't know, an hour to walk. Oh, I walked down that street with James a long time ago. How long do I have? A mile and a half. I lied, 2 miles. Okay, I'm gonna walk by the water, which is up that road. You're gonna reverse, ain't you? No, you're gonna park in the road. The fuck you mean you're just gonna park in the middle of the road? Well, I'm about to get run over. Yeah, but I love that little bakery. They make breads and pastries, homemade in-house. You got Big Chungus out here. Hi, bud. Buddy was huge. I don't think I've ever seen a dog that fat in my life. Well, actually, it could also be his undercoat and all that, but I don't know. Very dense animal.
Alabileceğimi söylendi.
It's hot today, which is nice. Because it means I get to finally wear shorts. Did I go the wrong way? Yeah, but I can just take a left there. Hi, kitty. Aw. See, at this point, cats just do whatever the fuck they want. It's a very cool thing to see. Sometimes the shop owner will have a cat, like they just kind of adopt a street cat for the shop, you know, like a bodega cat, but instead it's like a whatever shop does it. And then they just do whatever they want. They sit on the couch or chair. Ooh, I actually just noticed, besides the first American car out I've seen all trip. What does he want? Unlike New York, which has a rat problem, in this year's, the cats actually keep the place clean. Like, I don't think I've ever actually seen a rat. Is there a dog somewhere? Well, see, there's all kinds of cats everywhere. I also said I'd take a right, but I kind of forgot. I might skip that turn too. Yeah, I did. I'm an idiot. And then another thing is that, like, that's a cat house. Probably not for that cat. And then they leave out food and water. But, like, there are communal cat houses made by the city. Or the people that live around here. They just get, like, cat crates, but then leave them out with like an open door. And then they insulate it so they have a warm place to stay. So this city treats the cats better than we treat the homeless back in America. I forget the name of that type of dog. Never liked them though. So. Kitty. The cats here are not fearful of anything. Actually, that makes sense. They live outside all day. When they laid down the concrete, they stepped in it. That's funny. want a Magnum. Now, they're also going through shrinkflation right now. But instead of American shrinkflation, where they just reduce the size but keep the same price, they actually increase the price as well. Merhaba, kolay gelsin. Sadece bu. Kartlı. It's like a convenience store. I actually don't know what. Oh, it's just mixed berry and white chocolate. But to be honest, this might be my favorite flavor. Jaguar. See, the ice creams here, or at least Magnums, are double layered. So the outside layer is white chocolate. The inside's like the mixed berry. I actually don't know. It's like a little sour candy layer thing. I don't know what it would be called actually. I don't know. And the inside's just vanilla with. It's like a swirl. It's like a vanilla mixed berry swirl. But I like it. See, this is what I was talking about with the city funded cat housing. Hi, dude. And water and food. And then they actually have cat food vending machines that when you press a button, I think it gives food out for free. I'm not sure. There's another one. These stairs are sketchy because they're so shallow. They don't go down. And then all of a sudden it just drops. Oh boy. That's the Maiden's Tower. Kız Kulesi. The story goes there was a princess, and the king didn't want the princess to get married or whatever, and wanted to keep her alive because he heard a prophecy that she'd die after finding love, I think. I don't know. I did a project on it a long time ago, and then I lost points for not having a happy ending. So, not my fault. That's just history. But as a result of keeping her locked away, when she finds love, she gets sent a basket of fruits. And then inside's a snake that bites her, and then she dies. I told the legend wrong, but basically the king heard a prophecy that the princess dies because of a snake bite. So he locked her away in that castle in the middle of the water so nothing can reach her. And he sends her fruit every day to keep her fed. And eventually one of the baskets of fruit he sent had a snake in it, and then she got bit and died. And I still ended up losing points anyway because I didn't have a happy ending, like I said. So, Miss Karen, I'm a little disappointed. I still remember that like 13 years later. But what can I do about it? And there's another story that this guy named Celebi from the Galata Tower, he developed the first wingsuit before Da Vinci, actually. No one knows if it's real. But the legend goes he jumped off the top of Galata Tower where he was living at the time because he was like an important person. He was like an aristocrat and a scientist or whatever, like an inventor. He was an inventor. So he created a wingsuit, and then he jumped from the top of the tower, and he soared all the way through the Bosphorus. Because at the time, this place was kind of empty. In the 1500s, there wasn't as many buildings. I assume. I don't know. I'm not that old. And then he flew all the way down the hill over the Bosphorus, and then he landed at the Maiden Tower. I told the story wrong again, but basically this guy named Celebi climbed to the top of the Galata Tower, which is the building on the right, and that was the highest building, the highest peak in all of Istanbul at the time, in the 17th century. And he jumped, and he caught the wind, and he flew with his eagle wings, that's what he called it, like wingsuit, which was the first case of anyone ever flying in history, that was proven. And he flew all the way to Üsküdar, which is on the Asian side, which was 3,558 meters away. And I thought he flew to the little castle in the water, but he flew even farther than that, which is impressive. And that's why you don't tell stories while walking downstairs, because you end up making shit up while you think of where to step. I guess like a PR stunt. Like he was Red Bull before Red Bull. Because at this point, Red Bull's no longer an energy drink company. They just do whatever they want. And my knees are hurting because I'm going down so slow. Like these stairs, I hate Turkish stairs. They're really annoying to go down. Ugh. Finally. Now it's just a straight line for 40 minutes. That's the bank security cat. So he's just holding the fort down. He's the ATM security guy. Alright, I've just entered Beşiktaş, a different region. And that is the Beşiktaş Football Club Stadium. I don't know the name of it. I just know that they're the third best team in Istanbul. Behind Galatasaray and Fenerbahçe. And I think they have some good players, but I don't keep up with them as much, so I don't know. And then right across from the stadium is Dolmabahce, which was like it was like the White House actually. I think it was like the White House, the presidential building, because I'll show you in a little bit. Atatürk, the first president of the republic, because the country of Turkey was recognized as independent after the Ottomans fell in 1922? 23? No, the country got founded in 23 after it fell in 22. So he's like the George Washington of this place. And his palace is there. Because this building is older than the country, but you know, they decided to use it as an elected officials place where a bunch of, you know, diplomats and all that worked here. But I went in last year, 2 years ago, something like that. And to be honest, nothing really tickled my fancy. Because it's just like, oh, here's the building that like a bunch of shit went down in. It's like, okay, great. Like, where's the gold? Where's the diamonds, you know? I like shiny stuff. There wasn't really much shiny stuff. Except the roofs. The roofs were painted with paintings and gold trimmings and all that. It's like the Louvre, minus all the stuff that makes the Louvre. It's just a big building that looks nice. But yeah, you can't see it from here, so I can put a picture from where you see on the water, because it sits literally right on the water's edge.
So this was built between 1843 and 1856, and it was ordered by the Sultan Abdülmecid I, and this was because all the sultans up to him lived in Topkapı Palace, but it lacked the contemporary style, luxury, and comfort that a lot of the other European palaces like Versailles had, so he had it ordered because, you know, he kind of wanted to live in a bougier place. Here's Topkapı Palace, where the sultans used to live up until the Dolmabahce was created, and it's basically just like a super large palace, but it's really old. I think it actually might be older than France. I'm half right because France has always existed, but in 1792, during the French Revolution, the actual French First Republic was founded. So technically, Topkapi is older than the country of France because when the monarchy fell, that's when the first French Republic was started. But it's really outdated, apparently, in terms of Abdülmecid I's requests. But it would house like many thousands of people. It was practically its own city, and it would include the Sultan of the time, whoever that would be, his up to 4 wives, but there's a loophole where you can have concubines, and the concubines wouldn't count in terms of your marriage status. So in terms of Suleiman the Magnificent, who's the most famous of this example, he had up to a few hundred women as concubines, and he was only married once. But his marriage kind of broke Sultan tradition because he married one of his concubines, and this is Hürrem, and who also goes by Roxolana, and she's from what is now Ukraine. But over the time of being a concubine of his, she like stole his heart, and he freed her and then married her, which at the time was like an extremely progressive thing because he wasn't married up until this point, and he kind of married a slave that was for his entertainment originally. And the concubines would live in what's called the harem, which is in the red circle on the what looks like the west side, and they had their own little private area, and the concubines themselves would have servants. So it's kind of like the direct step below the sultan, where the sultan would have his servants and he's the most powerful, and then you have the concubines, and it goes in terms of like hierarchy of who's the favorite concubine, and each concubine in turn, like if they were really powerful enough, would have their own servants and own people looking after them. So it's kind of like a monarchy within a monarchy.
So when you take the ferry building, or not ferry building, when you take a ferry from Europe to Asia or Asia to Europe, you can see it's just like, it's really eye-catchy, even though it's like Gothic architecture. So it looks dull in terms of color. It's not like flashy. But when you really notice it, it's like, wow, that's there. And then you can't look away. But this place is really busy all the time. And I can only imagine on match day. See, that's Ataturk. That's the George Washington of this country. Unlike Trump, he actually has 100% unanimous support from all citizens. Even today, like 100 years after he died or whatever. So that's pretty cool. So 1-0. Yeah, but that's him. I suppose this part of across the street is just like a memory lane of all the things he did. I don't know. They're very supportive of him, which is cool. Behind that, like, restoration thing is the castle itself, or the palace. Yeah, see, that right there says his bedroom, because he died in his bedroom. Like, he was old, he had to go, so he let go. But that's the main entrance. Well, no, not the main. That's the grand entrance, I think. But the main tourist entrance is back behind us. And that's the palace, or a part of the palace. I don't know, it's hard to tell from the outside where the actual building is. It could also be behind those green trees where that roof is, because I could see a roof. No, you know what? It's actually through that gate. It's that building right there with that purple banner behind this bus. That's the palace. But it's just a very large place on the inside where they used to work and sign laws. And it's on the water's edge, so it looks really nice. I can only imagine what it felt like to actually live in it, because you wake up and see all the views. But yeah, now the White House equivalent is in Ankara. Maybe it's like that because Istanbul used to be the capital, and then I actually don't know when they moved the capital, but they did. And now Erdogan lives in Ankara in his presidential palace, which I saw when I came here in June. That place is fucking huge. And apparently he has a toilet made of gold, which is kind of ironic because his people are poor, but he shits in gold, so I don't know. Not my problem. Just a little story I heard. But maybe that's why the current White House equivalent is in the current capital. I can only assume. That's the cockroach I was talking about. So when I had that sandwich two days ago, 3, with my cousins at the night, they wrap the intestines because they don't like to waste meat, any type of meat. It's like, you know, they want to process the whole animal. So a long time ago they figured out that if you wrap the intestines around all the scraps and all the fat that you cut off, and then you render it over time, it develops a deep flavor. And then they figured out that instead of having it just like as a meat, they put it into a sandwich. So you still get your protein and all that and the flavor, and then you're like kept full because you eat the bread. Merhabalar. Burada altın satıyor mu?
Oo, Kevin,
Nasılsın?
Paşa, ne haber? Hoş geldin.
Nasılsın?
Ne haber?
İtalya nasıldı?
Güzel.
Çok güzel.
Gel, gel otur.
Tabii ki.
And here's doner, which I didn't have until literally the last day of my trip. But it's meat that when you get stacked on stack on stack on stack, you get a big pile of meat like here. And then, you know, with the open flame in the back, it cooks the outer layer, and then you slice it super thin, so it's like really flavorful, and it cooks in its own juices. And I mean, I just love doner. That's, if I could have any meal, anytime, breakfast, lunch, dinner, it'd be doner, specifically from the street, because that's where it's best. And here's what a doner from this place that we ate at in the video looks like in the mornings, because like the doner shops, they have a huge chunk of meat like in this picture, and then over time as people come, it just lessens and lessens and lessens. And so you have to go to a place where, you know, they sell a lot of doner from, because that way you guarantee that you don't eat yesterday's meat. So if you find a place that has a big mound of meat like this one, you're in a good place, because that's how you know that they sell out every single time. But that's it. That's my trip. That's all the videos I have, all the things I've did. If there wasn't a video, it's because I was visiting family, and no one wants to just watch me sit and have tea with my family, because that's kind of boring. But I hope you all enjoyed the 4 videos I did in the week I stayed. Pretty good ratio. But I had a lot of fun, and I spent my first Thanksgiving outside the United States, the first time in 19 years. And I had a lot of fun because on Thanksgiving Thursday, I actually went to my very first football game, very first soccer game. And, you know, the European atmosphere is on a level of its own. But I still had a great time, a great Thanksgiving day. And I'm excited to go back eventually, because that's what I do every year. And hopefully you guys can come on your own and visit, because Istanbul's a cool place. Even the whole country is a cool place, but it's kind of hard to navigate if you don't really know where you're going the first time. So if anything, go visit Istanbul first, learn the culture, and then you can branch out, make your own tours. But thank you for watching this past week of my life in a different country. I hope you enjoyed. Maybe subscribe, maybe like. Who knows, maybe this is a new occurrence for every time I visit a new place, like London or Germany or wherever I go on in life. But thank you for being supportive or watching in general, and I'll see you in the future, in possibly a long time, but definitely in the future. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Bye bye.